Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time to wrap up the best of 2020 with the rest of my favorite makeup this year. I figured that since we've already covered skincare, we've already covered foundation every which way, the remaining makeup I would go through is my most reached for products throughout the year. Not necessarily released this year, though a lot of them were, and this is just my favorite makeup this year. Now, of course, all my previous favorites pretty much are still favorites. Like, I can't tell you everything I love because it would take hours. But most of these are things we haven't talked too much about in previous annual roundups, so let's dive in. Let's start with the remainder of complexion. I know we've talked about foundations already, so I won't be talking about those, but let's start with concealers. None of this is going to surprise you. A lot of these have been my favorites, and I talk about them a lot. To this day, still my all-time favorite. Nothing has broken it completely off of its pedestal. This is my dying one that really needs to be tossed. I have a backup. I just need to... It's hard to throw makeup away when there's still a little bit left, you know? But this is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Concealer. I wear shade Too Fair. This stuff is like spandex for your under eye. It is amazing and it is beautiful. I wish there was just a little bit of a lighter shade. Shade 1 is too yellow for me. This is like a skin tone match on me. I want just a tiny bit of brightening, but it's okay. This stuff is so beautiful and I can wear it no matter how dry my skin is, how crepey my under eyes are looking. It is gorgeous and amazing. Still my number one favorite concealer of life. These are close though. This is the one I've been using the most. It came out this year. It is the Age Perfect from L'Oreal, and it's the Radiant Concealer. This stuff is gorgeous, smoothing, not quite as spandexy as the Charlotte Tilbury, but it's so close and like half the price that you really got to give this the time of day and try it out if you haven't already. The only issue is going to be finding a shade match. But again, I don't have a perfect match in the Charlotte Tilbury. I mean, this is a skin tone match, but I want a little bit lighter. So, you know, apples, oranges. This is in shade Ivory, which is the lightest shade, and it's pretty dark for a lightest shade. It's a skin tone match on me, but it's so good that you really just need to try it if you haven't already. Look for a sale. The other three that I love and reach for quite often, this is more my summer shade. It is from Pat McGrath. It is the Sublime Perfection Concealer. Again, it is almost as good at smoothing out texture under the eyes as the Charlotte Tilbury. It's close. It is beautiful, pricey, which is what makes the L'Oreal even more appealing. When I look at the prices between my favorites, it's like, I'd rather go through the cheaper one faster. But beautiful concealer. Marc Jacobs Accomplice. This one is gorgeous, and it's a stick, which amazes me that it doesn't look dry or cakey under the eyes, but it gives fantastic coverage, and it's super convenient in a stick format. It's a very emollient, soft feeling, creamy stick, so it just works wonderfully. And the surprise hit this year for me was the Lorac. This is the Pro Soft Focus Longwear Concealer. This foundation also wears really well on me and is a beautiful foundation. They kind of came out of nowhere with this. I haven't had the best luck in the past with Lorac complexion products. Their eyeshadows, I will say this until the day I die. They are so underrated. They're beautiful. I love their formula. They're amazing. This was an excellent concealer, and I reach for it a lot, and the coverage is awesome. So those are my top concealers. You guys know I've been crushing hardcore on the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation Powder. I use it to set my foundation, and it is super smoothing and a total dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder, which was my favorite. This one's so good that I might not buy another one of the Charlotte Tilbury. What else we got for complexion? Let's talk primers. one that's been around many years, and you know I love it, is the Strivectin Line Blur Effector. I still have multiple tubes of this. I go through it on the regular. It's kind of like my daily everyday wear if I'm not going to think about what I'm wearing, because it's just that good. It works with everything I wear, and it's very smoothing, and I love it. But the one you've seen the most, I think, in the most videos. I think if you did a poll of all my videos and like pulled up what primer I wore in all the most of my videos, it would be the Good Molecules Silicone-Free Priming Moisturizer. This stuff is great. It gives you a little bit of length, duration of wear. It's greatly moisturizing, super smoothing. I generally don't need a pore-filling primer to go along with this because it does a pretty good job on its own. It's just a really, really nice, inexpensive primer, and I'm loving it. Wore it a lot this year. I also wear a lot of the CoverGirl True Blend Base Business. I have several varieties of these and I love them all. I probably reach for this one the most, so this is the moisturizing one, and they also have a smoothing one. Probably reach for either of these two the most. But there's also an SPF one, and there is a pore blurring one. They're just really good. They don't dry my skin out. They're nicely smoothing. This video might be an hour long, you guys. This isn't exactly a primer, but I use it at the primer step. It is the e.l.f. Illuminating Eye Cream, and super hydrating, great when my under eyes are feeling totally dry, brightening. It's just really nice. I started using this as, I didn't expect it to compare directly to the Tatcha Pearl, which I also love, and I still wear all the time. The Tatcha Pearl has a little bit of color correction to it, whereas this does not. However, I feel like they do a very similar thing in terms of hydrating the under eye and giving brightness to the under eye. And of course, the e.l.f. is far less expensive. So, you know, if you were thinking about the Tatcha Pearl, although the packaging on the Tatcha Pearl is just, of course it doesn't want to focus. It's so cool. It's just so pretty. It's just such a cool, I love Tatcha. But the e.l.f., I would check it out if you haven't already, if you're looking for something that might, not an exact dupe, but a very similar product. And the last primer, I wish I didn't love this. I have the full size as well. It's the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydro Primer. This and the powder, the Hyaluronic Hydro Powder, oh, they're so good. I wish I never tried anything by Terry because it's so expensive and I love it so much. But they do really good sales directly on their website. Check their website because they just had a 30% off sale going, and that's a really good sale. So you can get them fairly reasonably priced if you keep your eye out. They do go on sale at like Nordstrom, and yeah, but this primer is so hydrating and so beautiful. All right, I think that's all of the complexion products, at least for base. All right, let's talk more face. I've only got one bronzer to talk about. It is the Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Airbrush bronzer. I have this in two shades, shade 1 fair and shade 2 medium. It is refillable. It's huge. Like, there's a ton of product in here, and a giant mirror as well. The packaging is beautiful. I love that it's refillable, although it takes me forever to go through these products, so I don't know if I'll ever get to the point where I refill it. But shade Fair is a super light shade. It's actually a bronzer I can wear in the winter that doesn't look too odd with my ghostly complexion. Shade 2 is the one that I would wear most of the year other than wintertime, which is odd because normally shade 2, you know, medium shades are usually for people that aren't as fair as I am. But love this stuff. It's the same sort of, they named it the same because the formula is inspired by the Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, which is gorgeous. It's my favorite. I wish Flower Beauty would dupe out this bronzer if they would. But it's the same sort of formula, so it is super smoothing on the skin and looks gorgeous, blends beautifully. Can't say enough good things about it. It's wonderful. I have a couple of highlights. No surprise, it's been my favorite for years. And this is still the first one I ever bought. Like, I still haven't even hit pan on this thing. I don't know how. I mean, you can see a dent in it, but like, how have I not hit pan on this? I use it almost every day. Natasha Denona Super Glow. This is the lightest shade Fair, 01 Fair. I also have 02. I bought it this summer, and I can wear it when I've got some sun or if I'm I never have sun when I'm self-tanning, really. But mine broke and it makes me really mad. But anyway, favorite highlight of life. Found another one that I actually like that's good enough to mention this year. It's from an indie brand, Kaleidos Makeup. It is the Diamond Dasher highlight. And it's exactly what you would think. It looks like little diamonds on your skin. Now, if you're not a fan of glitter finish, you know, it's almost like a topper. So I like it best with a blush that has a little bit of shimmer to it. But it's beautiful. It's hard to pick. I'm sure the camera's not picking up. It's tiny, tiny micro glitters. If you don't like micro glitter, you're probably not going to like this, but I think it's gorgeous. And it's super, super finely milled, so it doesn't accentuate texture, and it's beautiful. Let's see here. Is that all of the face? Ooh, let's do the one setting spray that I'm going to call out and mention. I used a ton of it this year. I'm almost out of this bottle. Catrice, this is the Prime and Fine Dewy Glow Fixing Spray. It helps extend the wear of my makeup, doesn't dry me out. I don't wear setting spray in foundation reviews because I want to test the foundation without it and see how its length of wear goes. However, pretty much every day of my life, if I'm not doing a foundation review, I am wearing setting spray. And this is one of my favorites. I probably reach for it the most. Ooh, blushes. Let's do blushes. So let's call out the only cream blush that's going to make the list this year. There were a couple good ones. CoverGirl had a nice one come out. I wasn't a fan of, it's okay, but who did it? Is this Maybelline? Yeah, the Maybelline one was like, I think it's more of a shade issue. I bought a few and none of the shades really work for me. The CoverGirl one's nice. The Clean Fresh one, I do wear this a lot, but the one that's gonna get my official call out as a favorite is from Flower Beauty. It is the Blush Bomb, particularly this shade Pinched. It is beautiful. I've been doing a lot more no makeup than usual working from home this year and wore this a heck of a lot. So it's going to get a call out as a favorite. It is buildable. You don't end up with a ton of product all at one time, which, you know, for me, I don't like to wear a lot of blush to begin with, and I'm pale complected, so I need to go slow with my blush. And this one does just that, which I appreciate. We are going to also call out the Wayne Goss blushes. This is Blush Peony, and it's so pretty, and it's so blendable, and it's so just a nice diffused wash of color, but you can build it up. And of course Wayne Goss put out gorgeous blushes because he's Wayne Goss, and of course he did. And I really, really hope he puts out a foundation soon because I will just fall out of my chair and love it, I'm sure. I have no doubt that I will because he's a genius. The other blushes, I got two more I'm going to call out, and they're both drugstore. This one has been in my favorites probably a couple years now because I think it's a couple years old. The e.l.f. This is the Primer Infused Blush. This is Always Rosy. I also have the shade Always Cheeky. I like that shade as well. It lasts all day long. Like, the fact that they call it Primer Infused, it really does have exceptional staying powder. Blends beautifully, totally buildable, my kind of blush. The other call out blush of the year, this whole product line. L'Oreal Age Perfect. The whole line is amazing. Everything I've tried, which is almost everything in the line, if not everything, is amazing. The blush is no exception. I wear this one a lot. This one is the shade. Why do I even do this to myself? Because I can't read it from a distance, and I don't have my magnifying glasses here. I don't know what the shade is. It's 415. That's all I can see. Peony, I think. It's good stuff. Seriously, this whole line is amazing. I'm going to call out the powder while we're here because I forgot about it when I was talking about other powder, but again, from the Age Perfect line, this is the Creamy Powder Foundation. This is the lightest shade, 300 Ivory. I use it to set my foundation. You can also wear it as foundation, like I set my liquid foundation with it. I don't wear powder foundations on their own because they tend to look dry on me, but I have worn this with, for example, the Glossier. What is that thing called? It's got like no coverage, but it's a skin tint kind of a thing. I wear this on top of it, and so really this is the only thing providing coverage. Gorgeous, totally doesn't settle into lines, doesn't accentuate dry skin, doesn't accentuate texture. They really nailed it with the Age Perfect line. I think everything else is eyeshadow. I have a bunch of eyeshadows here. Actually, I have a couple lip products too. Let's just do the lip products, get them out of the way. Laneige, to me, this is the lip sleeping mask in a tube, which is amazing because I love the lip sleeping mask. What do they call this? Lip glowy balm. It's just in a balm tube. Love it. Fantastic. So glad it's in this packaging. Probably won't buy the tub anymore. I'll just buy this tube. Crushing on lately. Flower Beauty. This is the Chill Out Lip Glaze. The shade Zen is amazing. These are great. I've been loving Flower Beauty lately. They've launched in CVS. That's why I'm talking about them a lot lately, because I've been getting a lot of their stuff lately. But brilliant. I'm wiping off an eyeshadow palette on my pants before I show it to you guys, because they're all dirty. Oh, okay, let's talk eyeshadows. First up, ColourPop, Blow and Smoke. This was a relaunch. It had a different name, and then somebody came after them because it was violating a trademark of another name. I don't know what the whole story was, but it doesn't matter. All I care about is the colors on the inside. Oh, cat hair. That's great. This is just your perfect, like, gray, black, white palette. Awesome. Love it. Perfect. I like ColourPop shadows. Next, some more neutral basics. Juvia's Place. This is the Taupes palette. And, you know I love me some cool tones and some taupes, which leads me to the Natasha Denona Glam palette, which I also need to wipe off the fingerprints on my pants. Oh, this palette, you guys. This is probably my favorite of the year. It's so good. Look at this. Look at this amazingness. Are you kidding me right now? There are a lot of palettes. I love eyeshadow. I love eyeshadow palettes. Every Pat McGrath palette I bought this year was amazing. The Divine Rose 1 and 2 were amazing. I don't have them in front of me because I picked a different Pat McGrath palette to be my favorite this year because I really like the concept of going with less expensive packaging, same exact eyeshadows, because that's the important part. This makes this more accessible to more people. There's 18 shadows in here. They're all amazing. Like, I love Pat McGrath eyeshadow so much, but I love the concept of what she's done with this release. This is the Celestial Divinity Mothership Mega. So it's not in the big, heavy luxe packaging of the big motherships, the thick, heavy ones that are $125. This is a much more reasonable price point. Same exact eyeshadows, which is the whole point, is the eyeshadow. So I love this concept, so that's why I'm calling this one out. The shades are amazing. Pat McGrath eyeshadows are amazing. Anyway, I have all of the motherships, so don't get me wrong. They're amazing. I also have a lot of Natasha Denona. The other one I was going to call out was the Love palette, but it was limited edition, and I'm not sure if you can get it anymore, so I don't want to make anyone sad that they can't get it, but that palette was amazing. Ooh, the Love Face palette, too, from Natasha Denona, also amazing. I do love Natasha Denona palettes. The Lila palette was in my favorites last year, I think, and I love it. The one that I can't remember the name of, I don't even think it has a name. It's right over here. I don't even think it has a name. And I'm way late on this one. This one's been out for years, but I just got it this year, and I love it. Like, oh, it's so good. I'm looking at, yeah, maybe I'll call out this one too. I think this was limited edition, but I think I saw that they re-released it. It's Wet n Wild. What are those characters' names? The Kuromi guys. I don't know who they are. But this palette's amazing. The color scheme is right. You know, I'm all about color stories, and that one's speaking my language. All right, let's stop grabbing ones that I didn't originally grab. Don't look. Just don't look at your eyeshadow. Shelly, you just can't put any more in this video. Clarins. This surprised the heck out of me. This is the Ombre. It's their shadow quads. And Clarins makeup, I've been a fan of Clarins skincare for quite some time. And I've just this year started trying some of their makeup, and I like it. You know, there's nothing revolutionary about a palette like this, And that's probably why I gravitate toward larger palettes versus smaller ones, because you've only got, you know, a handful of looks you can get out of a 4 quad palette versus something that's got, you know, 10, 15, 18 shadows in it. But I'm looking forward to the days when I can travel again, and these are the kinds of palettes that just go perfectly with that. Or you could keep them in your purse, in your bag, for emergency touch-ups, things like that. The quality of this is beautiful. I was very impressed, and I reached for it a lot because it's a rose toned. This is number 2 rosewood gradation, and because it's my preferred color scheme on a daily basis, I reached for it a lot. So I thought it deserved a mention. All right, the last eyeshadow palette, and I think the last thing I've got in front of me. Avocado toast. This is from BH Cosmetics, and I love it. I love green eyeshadow. Just plus it's hollow. Look at the holographic. Like, this whole palette just makes me so happy. The other thing that's very nice. Okay, you have a palette that has a lot of greens in it. It can be a challenging color to work with, but the deal is they have done such a good job curating the mattes to go with these greens. Again, it's all about the color curation and the color story. And if a brand puts the effort into proper, when I say color curation, I mean like selecting the exact shades and tones and undertones of the colors that they chose to put in the palette. If they pay proper attention to that process, you're going to have an eyeshadow palette that you can just mix and match and use any which way. Like, it doesn't become formulary. It doesn't become like, I always have to use that in the crease, or I always have to use that on the lid. It becomes, you're free to do anything you want because the colors have all been so well curated. They've been so explicitly chosen for their ability to coordinate with each other that the palette itself becomes a million times more usable and user-friendly, and that's what I love, and this palette is that. And it's green. And I like the BH Cosmetics eyeshadow formula. Every year since I've started this channel, I think I've had at least one BH Cosmetics palette in my favorites, and this is the one that gets the call out this year, although the second Zodiac palette, also very nice. The first one's still one of my favorite palettes of all times. Now I'm going to give it, this is the one that wins this year because it's amazing. And I love green. Oh, I do have a couple mini palettes I wanted to shout out. 2 of them are Natasha Denona. And the Mini Tropic palette, I'm not sure you can get these anymore. I think they were limited and you probably can't get them. But Mini Tropic totally surprised me. You would think that this is not wearable on a day-to-day basis, but it is, because this shade right here grounds the whole thing, and it's amazing. Again, excellent color curation. The Mini Retro palette, one of my favorites of this entire year. I'm pretty sure you can't get this one anymore, and I'm sorry about that, but it's so good that if you can, you should. And I'm gonna call out another green palette. This is one of the e.l.f. bite-size palettes. They weren't all a hit for me, but the green one, this one works really, really well. And it's very pretty, and it's green, and it's e.l.f. So it's reasonably priced, and it gets a shout out as well. There you have it. I think that's all my favorite makeup of 2020. That's not everything I love. I love a lot of makeup. But those are all of my most reached for products, and they get the shout outs this year. I know this year has been difficult for a lot of reasons and unexpectedly just not normal. But I appreciate all of you. I'm so glad that you have been able to hang out, relax with some makeup, keep it positive, look on the bright side, get through all of this together and looking after each other. And I just appreciate you guys, because having this channel to not only divert my attention from other things that are less desirable to think about, it gives me a mental break. It gives me joy to hang out with you guys in the comments. I have just really appreciated having you guys this year. So I hope that I have been able to give you a little bit of a mental break from the everyday of 2020, and here's to 2021, and hopefully we will be able to get back out there in the world and people will be healthy and well and things will be looking up. That's my hope for 2021. Have yourselves an awesome rest of 2020. As always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time for new videos. I love you guys. I appreciate your time, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.